This training video demonstrates how to add a meeting report. This function within the ATF chat lines will likely be heavily used during the first semester of each school year. So between the months, specifically September to December or the end of November, this functionality is critical to the success of the transfer system. You will notice that this function is number 4 under ATF season tasks. Number 4 is add ATF meeting report. The instructions are due 14 days after the ATF meeting. So facilitators, as you facilitate meetings, 14 days later, this report must be submitted and completed. Choose this link. This report can actually be submitted for past years, all the way back to 2000 and 2001. However, what is first in the sort is the current year, which is 2021 to 2022. Choose the discipline that you facilitated for this training video. We will choose film and media. We're going to add an ATF report. Attendance, the first thing you do is click all of the people who attended the meeting. Now, this is critical. It's important that even if someone is attending remotely or if the meeting is a virtual meeting, that you have a list of attendees. Face-to-face meetings, the attendees will sign in. Otherwise, if it's a virtual meeting, make sure that you write their name down. This particular year that we're in right now, all meetings are going to be virtual. So it's very important that the facilitators have a detailed list of who has attended, what institutions attended the meetings. Click on whoever attended this meeting. I, of course, am making this data up, but I will be collecting this from the attendance sheet. Virtual attendance of the institutions listed above, list the schools who attended the meeting virtually. If all members were present in the room, type none. But we will make a notation of who of these attended virtually, and you can absolutely include their names. Here. Next fall meeting date. This is an important this is a very important field. Before the meeting ends, you must secure a meeting date for 1 year from now. So typically that occurs literally 1 year later plus a day for the first Friday of September or the first Friday of November or whatever the group has figured out to do. But we will, of course, make up data. 9 o'clock. There needs to be a start time and an end time included in this calendar. Location. It's just simply the name of the institution, but make sure you identify which campus. So if it's NAU, is it Flagstaff or which campus is it? Meeting type. Hybrid is most of the time what we offer, but the ATF group can determine if they want it to be an all virtual meeting. There are several disciplines that have chosen to not meet in person or to meet in person every other year, and on the off years to meet only virtually and to only have a Zoom link as an option for attendance. Meeting chair, you'll notice for the rest of these that there are question marks that provide you with additional information. The most important part for meeting chair and meeting host is that we not only include the name of the faculty member, but we also include the name of the institution that that person is from. And the meeting host. We at AZTransfer do not support spring meetings. However, there are some groups who prefer to also meet twice a year, once in the spring. We certainly can record those spring meetings and we can make sure that those display or accessible in this meeting report form. for the faculty members to help everyone keep organized and pointed in the same direction. But AZTransfer will not be providing a facilitator for that meeting. We will not be collecting meeting notes for that meeting. We will not be doing a meeting report for that meeting. The next field is data changes, either yes or no. This refers to all the data that is on the discipline-specific dashboard and on the matrices. The rest of these fields get pulled from the meeting work product. Changes to majors on Common Course matrix. This is where it's documented if there were additions or deletions of majors within each institution. This should have been captured by the note taker of the meeting. Just a reminder, facilitators should only facilitate. They should not also be note takers. Faculty members attending the meeting need to provide the leadership for the meeting, and that includes taking notes for the meeting. Changes to common courses. Same situation. If there are any changes to the common course matrices, that goes here. I refer you at this point to a training video that is entitled How to Request Change to the Matrix. That's what they're referring to, is either the Common Course matrix or the exam matrix. Any changes that are listed in these fields need to also be done online. You'll notice the instructions here. All requested changes to the Common Course matrix or exam matrix must be made directly on the matrix. Instead of just providing AZTransfer with the information, the work actually needs to be done. Everyone has a password, everyone has login credentials, everyone has training on how to do that. Again, I refer you for additional information to the training video, How to Request Change to Matrix. All of that needs to be done concurrently with this report being submitted. Here's the instruction. Go to ATF Chatline's homepage and click the link for Request Change to Matrix. That refers to these three fields. For AJEC information, these are notes outside the AZTransfer system. If there are notes or comments related to changes in AJEC, or if there were changes relating to more than one Common Course matrix, provide that additional information here, including the term and year these changes are desired. If there is voting, the voting needs to be recorded here. Any issues that have been raised, curriculum planning for the future, CEG changes, anything regarding assist, and any additional comments. Now, this next section is an extremely important section, and that is where we add our attachments. There should be a minimum of 2 attachments added for every meeting report. Number 1 is a scan of the attendance sheet. Again, this is either an attendance sheet that each in-person attendee has signed and each virtual attendee has been added to the list by the facilitator with their institution that they are from. From this list, we build reports that report back to each of the chief academic officers of the institutions, how much their faculty have participated in these meetings, as well as report this information back to the JLBC. So it is very critical that we have that backup documentation for reference purposes in attachment form. A scan is fine, and linked and added and attached to each meeting report. The second is a scan or a PDF or an upload of a Word document for the meeting notes. Now, I will be honest, it's sometimes very difficult to get meeting notes from the note takers. My recommendation is at the end of every meeting, if you are in person, snap pictures of the pages, or ask them to email them to you, even in their rough form, immediately upon the conclusion of the meeting, even if their plan is to go in and update them and make them become more coherent and look prettier, I guess, for lack of a better word. But the longer it takes you to get them, the more difficult it will be for you to hit your 14-day window. Remember, this meeting report is due with both attachments, a minimum of both attachments, within 14 days of the conclusion of the meeting, with all of this data filled in and the work product completed in the request change to matrix fields within the chat lines. So it is critical, and there could be additional attachments. Sometimes institutions will bring certain updates to their institution that they would like attached to the meeting report, and that can be done here as well. But this report must be submitted, and at the end you click Save Changes. It must be submitted within 14 days of conclusion of this meeting. As a reminder, this link, Add ATF Meeting Report, is number 4 under ATF Season Task List. But this works in conjunction with number 1 under Edit Screens, Request Change to Matrix. Just as a refresher, choose your discipline, choose your matrix. These 2 are test matrices, equivalencies, and this is the screen where you would go through and create the changes, the request for changes. Again, there's a detailed training video on this already, but whatever changes you request, a record is created and it will appear here. It gets calculated and captured all of those requests that are made, change to matrix, the request change to matrix, all of those data files are logged and they get disseminated throughout our network for whichever institution they impact. And then they get counted right here, approve matrix changes. So make sure you take a look at this and see every time you log on if there are any pending for your institution. That means that other facilitators across the state and across the disciplines have been entering these changes on your behalf. And this is where they communicate to you what changes your faculty have requested. So you would click on that and you would find your institution and you would click here and all of those records would show here. This time of year, there are no changes being made because we have already cleaned all of the pipelines out when the season ended last year. But this is where that would be stored and documented, and you would be alerted in order to finish the process off for your own institution for things that had been added by other facilitators in disciplines when they add the ATF meeting report. This has been a training video on how to add a meeting report. Just a reminder, this report is due 14 days at the conclusion of the meetings that you have facilitated for the ATFs. If you have additional questions, please contact me, Cien, C-I-E-N, at AZTransfer.com. This has been an episode of the AZTransfer Training Video Library.